Ba ba. It's me, Nono. I'm here. Hello. Look what we've got. You see? Do you see him? Do you see him? He's here. Snicklefritz. We've gotten him. We have Snicklefritz now. Isn't he cute? Snicklefritz. Snicklefritz. I have to add the artist. He's here. The evil lord is back. Yeah, I guess he could be considered an evil lord. Or do you mean me? Hi, Joey. Hi, Juicebox. Hi, Juice. We got Juicebox, and we got Juice, and we got Joey. Both. Look at him. Look at him when I type. He's so funny. Wait. He's so cutieful. And fanciful. They couldn't get his cape because he has a little cape. Let me see. I still have him up here. See, he has this little like gesture type cape, so they couldn't quite fit that on, but that's okay. Is Slugcat retired? Yeah, Slugcat's retired now. Maybe he'll show up sometime in the future, but for now, we have Snicklefritz, so we don't need to have Slugcat. I did get some quite funny ones. Like the taking it back and ascended. Like you can unlock a lot of different little buddies. I got this, oops. Got this guy. Exhausted fox. Got this thing. Someone dead. He types with his face! Oh my god. We got this horse. Someone died? Yeah, this guy. He uses his face to type. Noob! Hello, Noob! And then we have an axolotl. We have a penguin. We have the pug, which is the original one, so this one's not quite new. We have a frog. We have this dead cat. He's typing the way I type. This is how I type. Hi! I'm doing good. How are you doing? And then we have... It's a bunny? A sleeping bunny? We have this thing. I'm not sure what this is. It's like a cutieful bunny. Like a little bunny with a headdress. A babushka bunny. We have astronaut. We have a sick... I think that's an otter? Those look like flippers, right? Those look like flippers. He's ill. We have a box of chicken. We have a piggy. We have a sloth. And we have this dog. That's like, why is he posing? Piggy. And then we have some that I had downloaded. Cinnamon roll. I downloaded cinnamon roll. And then I have this... I don't know who this is, but it's someone. Someone's persona, maybe. Then, of course, Firestar. Slugcat. Another slug cat. Another slug cat. With gross things growing off of it. And then Snigglefritz! Yay, Snigglefritz! I'm excited to see what all the different things are. Well, we do have more. Got a little hat. Got some nachos. This one doesn't fit him very well. Strawberry. An idea. This thing. A little stuffy. We got a lot of planets. A candy. A chicken. An apple. A pizza. A garlic. A pepper. A pin. Be nice. They are? They're turbo cancer. That's so sad. It's got a little cinnamon, some French toast. And then we got a lot of keyboards, but most of them are boring. So I have this macaron keyboard that came with cinnamon roll. And then we have like a little mouse that looks like you can't see it because his paws are so big, but there, you can see it now. It kind of matches him, right? Excellent. So that's our guy. We might change. We might change him depending. Maybe I'll make like a channel reward where you can pick which buddy you want. I have to make new channel. I have to refresh my OBS. I've been slacking. Usually I used to update things quite frequently, but I haven't done that in a while. Let me get some notes. Google Doc. Some ideas. So we have
Wow.
Channel. Does anyone have any sound bites that they particularly like that I should add? Channel redeems. Google Docky. We have talk in uwu voice for 5 minutes. We have change bit buddy. We have Among Us. Metal pipe falling. Good. I like that. Oh, more SFX combos. Sounds. Metal pipe falling. Any more sounds? Metal Gear alert sound. Oh, Among Us sound. Metal Gear alert sound. Do you want like clapping? Maybe like, do you want cheering or booing? Cheering, booing. R.I.P. my grandma. She got hit by a bazooka. Now I know you're from Surin's chat. That's such a... Surin sings that song sometimes we're on a call together. She just like, it's like her stim. Serenity, your secret Oshi. Maybe she's your soulmate. She could be. Okay, we have 3 new channel redeems. Actually, technically 2 new channel redeems, and then just adding more to the SFX. And then we have metal pipe falling sound, Among Us sound, Metal Gear alert sound, cheering, and booing. Sad thing is, I'm afraid, but you're talking to me right now. What about me? What about me? Is there a sound that you don't want anymore? Bruh, oh my god, brother. Bruh, oh my god, brother, what the heck? I'm not a femboy. Don't I have girl in my tag? Do I actually have girl? I should make that as one of my tags. Girl. Dang it, only 10. Should I get rid of? Get rid of chatty to add girl. Dunkachi. Oh, I'm an old man. Hi, Celia! Welcome in. We're brainstorming new things to add for my channel redeems. I do want to have widgets. I want some updated widgets. I want something rotate. Maybe I'll do like a big rehaul once my train alert comes in. I want rotate merch thing. I want... Hello! I'm pixelated. I'm bit by bit. Bit by bit. Dun 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 dun. Bit by bit. I want... Do you guys... Okay. I was perusing some different widgets, and there's one that I think kind of sounds cool. It's like a level up system. And the more you chat, the more you level up. And then you can like see your like level. That's one of the things I was looking at. Here, let me find it. My Snigglefritz is getting in the way. Widgets. But what can we do that? Widget? Not late. Hi, Van! You're just in time. Bomberman chat widget. There's a particular person that does these widgets that I like. Shop. Hi, Feather Dust! That's a warrior accurate name. Not you. Ah, I found it. Okay. So they have... Let's see. There's a game card widget. Where is it? Is it in here, actually? Well, maybe it's not this person. I was incorrect. I'm sorry. Leaderboard? But not leaderboard, because it's... Your leaderboard, your name was... Whoa, what was it? Pine? Something? Thank you for the follow, me Fuzzy! Oh, tomato fight. That's good. I should get this one. You can throw tomatoes at me. Throw tomatoes. Who will do that? Everybody. Widgets. Throw tomato. Photos fantastic. Hi, J Sizzle. No. That's my name. Toofin Designs. I like that emote. That's a cute emote. Here, Twitch XP, I found it. Okay. Hold on, I want to show you guys so you guys can... What the heck? Snigglefritz is blocking the TV. I mean, the prize pool. Here, he can go here. extremely rude of him. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. Shake my head. Okay, here it is. So we have... Ah! So it's like this cute little like leveling system. You get like, you can pick your little, your character, your emoji. And then everybody gets their own like profile card that shows how much XP you have. Yuppie! And then every time you say something, it gives you like a little hello. First message bonus. So when you say hi, it gives you like a little hello. And then there's different ranks. So you can be a novice, 1 till 10, 11 to 20. See? Quite like pretty expensive. You could be a legend. It encourages chatting because it's specifically top adventures. Whoa, in real time. You can see the rankings, so you can see who's the chattiest of chatters. Of course, that doesn't. I do have quite a bit of lurkers, so. But then again, I guess like. I wish there was a way to reward people just for being in there. Hey you! Hey me! So if you're just lurking, then I guess when you're lurking, you still get points based off of your, like, you can still get kernels for like your little pop cup. How can I join? That's what VIP is for. True! Lurkers get VIP. Chatters get legend emotes. How are you? I'm good. How are you? So there's that one. And then I know this person also has career, which I think is really funny. I don't know how it works exactly, but it seems really funny. There's 17 jobs in different titles, and then you can be like hired, Redeemer's profile picture. Each figure gets a random status from chaotic to employee of the month. Did you think I forgot about your birthday? Did you? You can get fired. Each figure gets assigned a random job with 4 promotions. You can level up. This one's also a chatting one, so you can level up as you chat more. Get promoted. This one I feel is a little too intuitive. Like, it's not as straightforward as the level system, but I think it's still pretty cute. Happy belated or upcoming birthday! Thank you! Happy belated and upcoming happy merry on birthday, as they say. A very merry on a birthday to you. To you! You finally have a job that you love. A grass toucher. Actually, I was gonna get... I think this was the person... No, it wasn't this one. But there was someone who had a widget that I was gonna get, which had all the... like every time I read a book. Mary! A very merry on birthday to you! To you! A very merry on birthday to me! So blow the candle out, my dears, and make that wish come true. What is this? Grow and sell stream widget. Redeem. You can grow a little plant. Turn passive viewers into active participants. Is this for lurkers? Plant. See the results. Sell it. Turn every harvest into profit. What do you do with your money? Where did you hear that song from? That song's from Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it's Alice in Wonderland. It's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Ah, so it's like how much money you can get. Eggplant, peas, peppers. Pretty. That's kind of cute. How do you get the crops though? Basic. How do they grow? Viewers can redeem a channel point to reward to plant, grow, and sell. Each interaction displays the viewer's username. But how do they make it grow? 3 stages. How long do you have to wait? Or do... Maybe it costs money? Maybe the reason why it's wait is if you don't have... You have to wait for... Wait while you get more... Like... Channel points? And that's where you wait from? Something like that. When I wanted to eat what she was eating, they made it look so good both. I know! I wanted to eat... You know what I want to eat so badly? I want to eat the little, like, pancake thing she was eating. And I want to eat the things that the mice in Cinderella ate, too. Don't have a nod emote F. That's sad. Do I have a nod? I don't think I even have a nod emote. Okay. Maybe... Here, let me write that down, though. I'll do... Rotate merch. Leader... The level up system. The XP. That might be nice and clean. Something clean. And easy. I'm wondering, do you guys, do you prefer it when streamers have overlays? Or do you like it more when they're just kind of like at the bottom? We need more nod emotes. We do. What's a mo... Oh, true. You like both? Cause like, here, we'll go to my... I prefer no overlay for gaming. I have no preference. So let's go to my gaming one real quick. So the reason why I kind of like it when it's like this is because I'm blocking some, but I'm not blocking all of it. And also I can like go down here. But without it, I guess it seems like it's more popular when, you know, like your face is just here. And then there's like a chat in the corner. When you go low like that, it looks like you're gonna... Delicious. I did eat some popcorn today, so maybe it was you guys. Maybe we'll get rid of it for the next time. I don't know. I wanna try some new things. See what like looks sleek and clean. Maybe I'll do some research, you know? It is difficult, I guess, when I have an overlay, it's also easier to put things on that overlay, you know, like Snickle Fritz sitting on the overlay, and he's not blocking the game as much. Chat and Connor. True. Or if I have like sub goals or like Maddie, like, you know, like this little widget here, that's also not in the way. I saw someone have like a really, really cool overlay that was just like, it was like a Windows window. Like a Windows window. And because our brains are so used to looking at Windows windows, you didn't like, almost like you didn't register it. So it had the overlay border of a Windows window, and then on the bottom of the screen, they also have the subs and stuff. That's also another thing. If I have my pop cubs, they're like in the way, right? Like here they're kind of there's a space, so they're not particularly blocking. Like maybe their heads block it sometimes if you're wearing the slug cat on top of your head. But if that overlay is not there, then he's like it's like busy, right? There's too much going on. But then it's not as much going on. Too much. Not as much. Would I like contain them? I guess I could potentially have them only be able to spawn like right under me. Like they're all here. Contained? Contained pop cups? Forced to climb the side of the screen and fall on my head like little raindrops. What happens if you do... Wait. Somebody redeem... No, wait, I can redeem. I can redeem... Oh, I didn't realize I had these cute little icons for all my... When did I do that? I can't remember. Where's the Royale? Where's the Battle Royale? Am I blind? There it is. Okay, so it doesn't count. They'll still run amok and kill each other wildly across the screen. Interesting, interesting. La da 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 da. Pop Cub War! Pop Cub War! Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? It's looking like it's gonna be Noob. Noob may win. Bye, Celia. Sweet dreams. I hope you have a wonderful rest. Oh. Oh, Snigglefrit's cheating? He's cheating? He's cheating? Joey! Joey got a health potion. Joey's gonna win. Yeah, Joey! He's always cheating. That's snickerdoodle. I win. Yay! Oh, but then you guys all respawn everywhere, which is not what I want. I need you to be all here. Can I like make it a non-spawn area? Collision spawn zone. There. So now, hopefully, you guys are always contained in this small threshold. Baby jail. The Pop Cup pen! That's good, I like that. Okay, we've solved one of our issues. The other issue is we can't see that Maddie got first. Solved. I've solved it. We are now solved. Excellent, excellent. Yay! Okay, these are good things. Overlay. By overlay. There we go. Let me do another pop cub. See if it... Will they only spawn in that spot still? Okay, no. We'll just see what happens. Fight! 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 There's so many exciting things that exist nowadays. Alright, so today it's Warrior Cat Wednesday. And every Warrior Cat Wednesday we would Warrior Cats. Usually we have, I summarize what happened previously on Warrior Cat Wednesday, so that is what I'll do. So, previously on Warrior Cat Wednesday... Oh wait! Oh my god, guys, hold on. So I went home yesterday because I had a dinner with my family, and my mom's been like going through all of our old childhood stuff, and she found my recorder from elementary school. Hold your horses. So now we have a recorder. Astra, do you like it? I want to learn how to do the Outer Wilds theme song. So hold on one second. I'm gonna learn how to do this right now. Outer Wilds theme recorder. Ah, yeah. Finger chart. Okay. They do it like this. First note is all of them. Wait. You need to... Yes. Wait. Oh, I kind of hear it. You kind of hear it. The da na 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 na. Wait. A. Wait. It goes by so fast. I need to practice more, but I can see it happening. I can see it working. I just need to make sure I have my fingers on the correct places, I think, you know? My little finger needs to be on 7, 6, 5, 4, third. That was my third finger. Middle finger. Aha! I got it! You can get it. Yeah, if a third grader can do it. Oh my god, guys, it's happening. I think I got it. Or at least I'm getting it. Thank you for the follow, Adam. Edom. I could play what the heck is hot cross buns? Wait. That's too much practicing for now. Play on that thing. All right. Anyways, back to Warrior Cat Wednesday. I've never heard of. I've heard the name, but I don't know how the melody goes off the top of my head. So, okay. Previously on Warrior Cat Wednesday, we met Alderpaw. Alderpaw exists. He has a sister named Sparkpaw. He wanted to be a warrior, but he sucked at being a warrior, and the medicine cats saw him in a dream, and they're like, bruh, you shouldn't be a warrior, you should be a medicine cat. And Alderpaw was like, oh, okay, I guess. I don't have a choice. And they're like, nope, you don't. And so he became a medicine cat apprentice instead of a warrior cat apprentice. And then he was studying, and then I like that we finally get a single POV medicine cat from Kit. Because Jay Feather doesn't count. I guess because he was a warrior cat to begin with. No, wait, no. So was Alderpaw. I guess just we're splitting up different. Yeah, single. And then Alderpaw they went to the moon pool for the first time, and then Alderpaw had a dream, and the dream was kind of like this vision of this bunch of cats that he didn't know, and he was like, oh, this is probably not important. But he tells Sandstorm, an elder, while he's picking her fleas, and she's like, oh my god, I know those cats. That sounds like Sky Clan. And he's like, Sky Clan? What's Sky Clan? And she's like, well, it's this clan that existed. And he's like, why don't we know about Sky Clan? And then Brambleclaw has a discussion with her, and he's like, yeah, so Sky Clan used to exist, and then the Two Legs started taking over the forest, and then It is! This is the books that the Odd Ones Out made a video about. Exactly! This is the 6th season of it. What happens after that? Oh yeah, so he's like, yeah, there used to be Sky Clan, there used to be 5 clans, and then the Two Legs came and they decided to make like houses in Sky Clan territory, and then Sky Clan asked for help, and then all the other clans were like, lol, no. And so they died. Or no, they ran off and then they died off, and then Firestar got a quest where he had to reassemble Sky Clan. So Sky Clan exists now somewhere far, far away. And you're seeing visions of them because they need help, apparently. And Alderpaw's like, dang, okay. And then Bramblestar was like, yeah, so I think you should go on a quest. And your quest is to save Sky Clan or whatever. And Sandstorm is like, yeah, I'm gonna come too because I'm the only one alive that knows where they are. And Alderpaw's like, please, Dad, please, please, please. And Bramblestar's like, yeah, okay, fine. And then Sparkpaw, his sister, also comes with them, and then 2 other cats. And so they go on their quest to go find Sky Clan, but only Sandstorm and only Alderpaw know about Sky Clan because the other cats, Bramblestar didn't want to tell all the cats that Sky Clan exists because then it'll give all the clans a bad reputation, because they're like, what do you mean we like turned away a clan in need? That sucks. We're awful. So he's like, yeah, we're not gonna tell anybody, but you guys are gonna go look for the clan. And so they have like this secret, and I was trying to figure out what they were gonna say when they showed up at Sky Clan, but I'm guessing what they're gonna do is like, oh, we have to go to this place, but we don't know what's waiting for us there. And then they'll find the clan and be like, oh my god, the clan! They need help! This is why we came here! That's what I'm guessing is gonna happen. And so they're off on their quest, and then they feel like they're being watched, and then Needlepaw, a Shadow Clan apprentice, jumps out of the bushes and is like, hi, I'm coming with you. And they're like, why? And then she's like, well, I saw you guys and I wanted to come with you. And they're like, okay, fine. Just because we don't want you to turn back and like tell everybody or whatever. She's like, nice. And then they continued on their quest or whatever, and then there was like a fox attack briefly, and Sandstorm got her shoulder injured, and then they had to climb up fences and run away and stuff, and she fell and she hurt her shoulder more, and so she's injured, and Alderpaw, because he's a medicine cat apprentice, gives everyone jobs like, go find this herb so we can help Sandstorm, because if she dies then we're lost. We won't know where to go at all. And so yeah, that's what happened. And now I'm gonna read what Ven said. Ven said, Loki, the multiple POVs frustrate me because what do you mean you have to try and remember? Yeah, that was me. When I was reading Power of 3 the first time, I'd flip through each chapter and read which chapter was in J Feathers or J Paw's POV, and I would like put my fingers in between those pages so I could tell how long it would take for me to get to his chapters. So we know that their spirits fade from StarClan as they are less and less remembered. Do you think they reincarnate? I feel like this would make sense since we've already seen this happen with Cinderpelt Heart. Also, Jay, right? Technically, Jay Feather, Lion Blaze, and Dovepaw, or Dove Feather. What was her last name? Dove whatever. They all had reincarnations from the tribe. lion boys. But would it happen regularly without the double soul type thing that was going on? Well, so this is also one of the things that people are guessing, because Jay Feather is on the title page of the newest book, and so people think that Jay Feather's gonna die, and everyone's trying to cope with that, me included. And some people are hypothesizing that he's gonna be reincarnated with a new cat, and he's gonna be a warrior. Like Dove Wing, that's it. He's gonna be a warrior. He's gonna have his sight. You know, it'd be hilarious if he was reincarnated, but he didn't have like his hearing or his nose smellers. That wouldn't be hilarious, but it'd be ironic. But he should still be a warrior anyways. He's nosy. And that's where we're at. And then the Fire Nation attacked. Exactly, noob. Okay, so that's where we are. That's where we're at. So let us begin. It's been an hour almost. What the heck? How does time fly? Time's scary. Okay. Chapter 14. We have 10 chapters left. So I could technically finish it today, maybe. Or I don't know. It depends on how long the chapters are and how fast I can go. Let's go! Okay. Chapter 14. Alderpaw stood on the grass outside the sheltering elder bushes. Above his head, the sky blazed with stars. Although the night wasn't cold, he was shivering as though he had just clambered out of icy water. Just ahead, a cat was walking away from him, towards the fence they had crossed the day before. Her head and tail were proudly raised, and she moved with a strong, purposeful gait. Starlight glimmered at her paws and around her ears. But what's that? But that's... Alderpaw cut off his words with a gasp, and he spun around to check on the nest beneath the elder bushes. But the elder bushes were no longer there. When Alderpaw turned back, the fence had vanished too. He stood in the middle of a stretch of lush grass, with whispering groves of trees all around. The starry cat was facing him now, and he saw clearly that it was Sandstorm. Did she just die? Oh no, no, he whispered. The ginger she-cat looked taller and stronger than he had ever seen her, and her infected wound had disappeared. Her pelt was thick and sleek, and her green eyes gleamed with love for him. It is my time to leave you, she meowed, with no pain or confusion in her voice. But don't worry, Alderpaw. StarClan is where I belong now. No! Alderpaw protested with all the strength that was in him. You can't leave us now. We need you. This is my destiny, Sandstorm responded, and you do not need me anymore. You are stronger than you know. Listen. She took a pace towards him. You must lead the others now. Continue heading towards the rising sun. It is many days' journey, and you will have to cross a very big and busy thunder path. After that, you will come to a river. Follow it upstream, and you will find the gorge where SkyClan has their camp. Alderpaw tried to memorize what Sandstorm was telling him. The rising sun, a big thunder path, then the river. At the same time, he felt hot with shame that she wouldn't be there to guide him. He turned his gaze away, unable to go on looking at her. I failed you, he muttered. No, Sandstorm murmured gently. No cat could have done more to help me. I doubt that even Jay Feather or Leafpool could have kept me alive for so long. I knew the risks when I chose to come on this quest, she reminded him. I know how important your visions are. But you could have lived for many seasons in ThunderClan, Alderpaw mewed wretchedly. And now I will live for many more in StarClan. Sandstorm pointed out, I will get to see Firestar again, and all the cats I have loved and lost. Alderpaw, this is how it was meant to be. You have nothing to feel ashamed of or guilty about. Alderpaw turned in an anxious circle, unable to believe what Sandstorm was telling him. What will I do without her? How will I lead this quest? This isn't a vision, he insisted, fear overwhelming him. It's just a dream. I'm going to wake up and you'll be sleeping right beside me, just like always. You're going to be all right. Sandstorm's eyes glowed with a mixture of pity and affection. I was dying, she reminded Alderpaw. You knew that, didn't you? No, you're gonna get better, Alderpaw retorted, even though deep within him was the cold certainty that she was right. I'm gonna make sure of it. Sandstorm gave a sad shake of her head. There was nothing you could have done to save me. It was my time to die. No cat lives forever. This was one of the most important lessons that you, or any medicine cat, will ever learn. On the last few words, her voice began to fade, while the starry light around her blazed brighter and brighter until Alderpaw couldn't go on looking at the dazzling glory. A moment later, he jerked awake in his nest under the elder bushes. Thanks, StarClan. It was only a dream. Sandstorm is right here beside me. Scrambling to his paws, Alderpaw turned to nudge Sandstorm awake. But as soon as his pads touched her fur, he knew that he hadn't been dreaming. Sandstorm's fur was limp, the body beneath it cold, and her ribs weren't rising and falling with her breath. It was a vision. Sandstorm is dead. Rest in peace, Sandstorm. Dustpelt is dead, actually. I should have added him to my counting. As he was mentioned briefly that he died in the Great Storm, whatever that is. Probably some special edition. Rest in peace. Alderpaw backed away in horror, his fur prickling up. 5 booms on the boom meter. He couldn't keep back a wail of distress. No, it wasn't her time. Cherryfall's head popped up from her nest. Alderpaw, what's happening? Wait, it's called Bramblestar Storm? Wait, for real? I guess that makes sense, timeline-wise. The other cats were waking too, confused and questioning. A shocked silence fell over them as Alderpaw pointed to Sandstorm's body with his tail. Slowly, they all padded over to Sandstorm and stood looking down, a tail length away from the huddle of cold fur. Sparkpaw was the first to break the silence. She's dead, isn't she? Now what do we do? Sandstorm was the only one who knew the way. Mulewhisker pointed out gloomily. We were relying on her to help us complete the journey. Is her death telling us that the quest is doomed? Murmurs of agreement, with a note of fear, came from the other cats. In spite of his grief, Alderpaw felt a surge of purpose flooding through him from ears to tail tip. Sandstorm wouldn't want us to stand around like this, wondering what to do, he told them. He told the sad and confused cats in front of him. She would want us to sit vigil with her, and then bury her, before we decide what to do next. You're right, Cherryfall meowed. Let's do that. Together, the ThunderClan cats dragged Sandstorm out of their nest and laid her on the grass, gently stroking her fur and fluffing up her tail. It was dark. The sky was studded with stars, as if all the spirits of their warrior ancestors were waiting to welcome Sandstorm and to honor her. Hi, Iko? Hello, welcome in, thank you. As they began to settle down around her, Needlepaw padded up to Alderpaw. I know Sandstorm wasn't my clanmate, she murmured. To Alderpaw's surprise, she sounded almost shy. But I traveled with her long enough to know what a great cat she was. May I keep vigil with you? Sure, Alderpaw replied, warming once again to the silver she-cat. Come and sit by me. Sparkpaw crouched down beside Sandstorm's head and gave her ears a lick. We've come all this way, she mewed sorrowfully. We've come so close to being killed by monsters or foxes. We fought so hard to survive. It doesn't seem fair that Sandstorm died anyway. I know. Cherryfall sighed. She deserved so much more than this. What do you think, Alderpaw? Molewhisker asked, turning to him. Do you still want to go on? Alderpaw bit back a sharp retort. I just told them that they could agonize after we laid Sandstorm to rest. I'll think about it during the vigil, he replied. Maybe StarClan will send you a sign, Cherryfall suggested. The questing cats gathered around Sandstorm's body, staying there throughout the night. Sustained by the days spent drowsing in the den, Alderpaw didn't find it hard to keep awake. He tried to focus on the future, but he couldn't help wondering if there was anything he could have done to keep Sandstorm alive. She told me in my vision that it was her destiny to die now, he thought. So why does my heart still ache? And if every cat is going to die eventually, why bother trying so hard to stay alive? Eventually he dozed, and he roused to hear the voices of the other cats. Blinking his eyes open, he found himself surrounded by the gray light of dawn. Back in camp, Cherryfall was mewing, the elders bury our dead clanmates. Molewhisker and I are the oldest cats here, so we ought to do it. But I want to help, Sparkpaw protested, raw grief in her voice. She was my mother's mother. So your grandmother. I guess they don't have that word. Okay, you can, Molewhisker told her comfortingly. Alderpaw staggered to his paws, his legs stiff after the night spent in vigil. Let me say the proper farewell to her. He took a deep breath, looking up at the sky where a few warriors of StarClan still lingered. May StarClan light your path, Sandstorm, he meowed, speaking the words used by medicine cats for seasons upon seasons. May you find good hunting, swift running, and shelter when you sleep. All the cats bowed their heads for a moment. We need to find a good spot for her burial, Molewhisker mewed after a moment. What about under these bushes where she died? Cherryfall shook her head. She'd be hidden from the stars there. Just beside the bushes would be better. Molewhisker nodded agreement. As he and Cherryfall were prepping to move Sandstorm's body, he said quietly, I think we should consider turning around and going home. This quest might be doomed. What? It was Needlepaw who spoke, her neck fur bristling. Sandstorm died trying to help us complete this quest. If we stop now, wouldn't she have died in vain? Molewhisker swung around on her. It's not your decision, he spat, his voice sharp as a claw. In case it escaped your notice, you're not a ThunderClan cat. Alderpaw felt his whole pelt quiver as he listened to the quarrel breaking out. Not waiting for Needlepaw's response, he turned and padded away, keeping to the line of the fence they had crossed 2 days before. Just wanted to get out of earshot, to find a little peace and quiet where he could think. Chill without tripping. Holy yap! I am reading a book. Yo, I'm falling asleep. Can we stipple the yap and jump straight to the... What? Sir! Sir! I don't actually have the power to... Do I? Oh, I do! I can warn you! I'm gonna give you a warn. Bam. Actually, I've never done this before, so this is exciting. Wait, I can't press the enter button. Just kidding, I can't do it. Sir, this is McDonald's. True. Timeout. Here we go. Let me read what Ben said. Basically, there was a heavy rainfall, and the lake territories flood and push ThunderClan temporarily out of camp. It also caused the creation of a new part in the warrior code. Clans must help each other when one is in trouble. I'll get a list of cats that died. I haven't read it. Soragel died in a super edition shortly after the Great Battle from blood loss. Black Star lost his final life from the Great Storm. Okay, that's... So I saw a lot of, like, fan art of Black Star dying, saving, like, a kit or something in a flood. And I was like, when does this happen? And now I know where it happened. Alright. Let's continue. His chest fur burned with grief for a Sandstorm, and his head swam with indecision. Should we even go on? Sandstorm so wanted to see SkyClan again, and that made me feel that we were meant to be on this quest. But now that she's gone, do I even believe that these strange cats could be what StarClan says will solve our problems? Not even Bramblestar seemed certain of it. Sighing, he remembered his last vision with the SkyClan cats, where they were shrieking for help. Why do they need me? He asked himself. What can I do for them? Looking up, he saw that the last starry spirits had vanished and the sky was brightening towards sunrise. I wonder if Sandstorm can see me now. Can she hear my thoughts? I really wish I could ask her for guidance. Letting out a long sigh, he spoke out loud. What am I gonna do? Tell them the truth, a voice replied. Elderpaw startled and turned around, arching his back, even while he recognized the voice at Needlepaw's. The ShadowClan cat showed none of her usual mischief as she approached him. The others have come this far, she began, and they won't turn away from you now. You must go on, but first you must tell the others the truth about why you're on this journey. Do you even know why? Elderpaw asked tartly. No, I don't. I only heard a little bit of what you and Sandstorm said, Needlepaw admitted, her eyes serious, but I know there's more behind it than you've told us, and I think it's time every cat knew the truth. If you don't tell them, I will. As Elderpaw opened his jaws to protest, she added, or I'll tell them what I know, and that will force you to tell the rest. Elderpaw stared at her in outrage. I didn't think you would betray me like that. Needlepaw flinched as if he had struck her with a blow. It's not betrayal, she said, defending herself. I've seen how you think things over, and over and over and over again. I know you'd never tell the others the truth on your own, but I think it's important for them to know. Why? Elderpaw challenged her. It will help bind them together after losing Sandstorm, Needlepaw explained. Elderpaw realized she must have thought long and hard about this, and it will help every cat recognize how important the quest is. I saw how you and Sandstorm looked at each other when you talked about it. I know how serious it is. Elderpaw thought about that, then gave a nod, trying to hide his surprise. I can't believe it's Needlepaw of all cats giving me such wise advice. I'll do as you suggest, he meowed. The gleam returned to Needlepaw's eyes. First, let's go hunting, she suggested. Full bellies will help the truth go down easier. Elderpaw was about to argue when he felt a gnawing in his belly and realized that no cat had hunted since the previous morning. You're right, he responded. I'll hunt with you. Not that I'm likely to be much use, he added to himself. Elderpaw crept across the grassland, trying to pick out prey scent over the stink of farm animals that the breeze was carrying towards them. Just ahead of him, Needlepaw padded forward, slowly but decisively. She must have found a scent, but I can't smell anything except these weird creatures back there. Suddenly, Needlepaw halted, raising her tail to signal that she had spotted prey. Half turning towards Elderpaw, she jerked her head to one side, telling him to go that way. Elderpaw obeyed, putting on speed as he wove his way through the long grass. I hope I'm not getting this totally wrong. Finally, he caught the scent that Needlepaw must have picked up long before. Rabbit. At the same moment, he spotted the creature a couple of fox lengths in front of him, nibbling at some low-growing plant. Its ears shot up as Elderpaw tried to slide soundlessly around it, and it took off, its white tail bobbing as it raced away. With rising excitement, Elderpaw gave chase. Needlepaw appeared from nowhere, right in the rabbit's path. She lashed out with one paw, and the rabbit's shriek was cut off abruptly as it fell limply to the ground. Thank you, StarClan, for this prey, she meowed. Then Needlepaw looked up, her eyes alight with the thrill of the hunt. Wow, you're fast, she exclaimed. You drove it right towards me. That's pretty impressive. Elderpaw turned away, embarrassed, though his chest was swelling with happiness. I was useful on a hunt. I wish Sparkpaw had been here to see that. Padding over to Needlepaw, he nuzzled her head with his nose. Thanks for your help, he mewed. We may be from different clans, but I'm glad you stayed with us. He would do very well with Wind Clan's way of hunting, of chasing the rabbits in one direction and then another cat cutting them off and jumping on them. When he and Needlepaw returned to the elder bushes with the rabbit, Elderpaw found his 3 companions cleaning earth from their paws. They sounded more cheerful as they greeted him and settled down to feast on the rabbit. When they had finished eating, Elderpaw rose to his paws, clearing his throat nervously. I have something to tell you, he began. He paused, looking for the right words, and Molewhisker twitched one ear impatiently. Spit it out, then, he meowed. It's about the vision that sent us on this journey, Elderpaw responded. It's more complicated than you know. I saw a group of cats, the cats of Sky Clan, and I believe they need help. Sky Clan? Who are they? Sparkpaw asked. I've never heard of them, mewed Cherryfall. I don't know much about them, Elderpaw explained. Only what Bramblestar and Sandstorm told me. Long ago, back in the old forest, there were 5 clans, not 4. But 2 Legs took over Sky Clan's territory, and the other 4 clans drove them out. They made camp in a gorge beside a river, but eventually their clan withered and died. And that could happen to us if we don't find out what lies in the shadows, Sparkpaw pointed out. Firestar said a time of great change is coming. It doesn't sound like good change. That's true, Elderpaw meowed, struck by the balance. I wonder if SkyClan is what lies in the shadows, he mused. If SkyClan died out, who are the cats you saw? Molewhisker asked. Firestar restored their clan. He and Sandstorm went on a quest long ago, and they brought cats together, descendants of the old Sky Clan, and established the clan again. When I told Sandstorm what I saw in my vision, she recognized some of the cats. So that's how Sandstorm knew the way, Cherryfall exclaimed. But how can we get to Sky Clan now that she's dead? Because she told me where to go, Elderpaw replied. If we head towards the rising sun, eventually we'll come to a river, and if we travel upstream, we'll find Sky Clan's camp in the gorge. His clanmates exchanged uncertain glances. Elderpaw wasn't sure that they believed him. Why did the other clans drive Sky Clan away and let them die out? Clear Sky was a jerk, Molewhisker asked eventually. It's a very shameful part of warrior history, Elderpaw replied. No cat knows the whole story, and the only living cat, apart from us, who knows anything is Bramblestar. I shouldn't even be telling you, but I thought that it was important for you to know the truth. After a few moments' silence, while the cats were clearly thinking over what they had heard, Cherryfall got up and rubbed her cheek against Elderpaw's. That was brave of you, she meowed. Your first act as our leader. Elderpaw was touched, especially by her admission that they would follow him now. It will take us a few days to get used to all this, Cherryfall went on, but I'm glad you told us the truth. So am I, Needlepaw agreed. Molewhisker rose to his paws and glanced around at his clanmates. I think I speak for all of us, he mewed, when I tell you that we pledge ourselves to do whatever it takes to find SkyClan and complete the quest. As his friends murmured their agreements, Elderpaw thought that his heart would burst with pride. Nice. Dustpaw died of badgers. Dang. But why was Dustpelt hanging out with Shadow Clan? To be killed by badgers. Unless, I guess, like, they were in need of help, so they went to help Shadow Clan? Yes. That's rough. Elderpaw led the way cautiously. Oh, sorry. Chapter 15. Elderpaw led the way cautiously along the cliff edge, his belly fur brushing the dusty ground. On one side, rough grass stretched into the distance, dotted here and there with scrubby trees and bushes. On the other, the ground fell away into a precipice. At the bottom of a river tumbled along between sandy rocks. We're almost there, he thought. Exhalation? The heck? Exhalation breaking through his weariness. This must be close to the place where SkyClan made their camp. Wait. What about the path? Many sunrises had passed since Elderpaw had told its friends the truth about their quest. Afterwards, they had hardly stopped to rest. Following Sandstorm's directions, they had passed through more farms, crossed busy thunder paths, and skirted two-leg places until they reached the river and turned upstream. Oh, so they passed it. Okay. I never knew the world was so big, Elderpaw reflected. No, it's not exhilaration. It's exhalation. Exultation. Exhalation. I don't even know what that means. Maybe it's a misspell? Maybe they meant to say exhilaration, but they wrote it wrong? Probably a British word. Dang, Britons. Meaning. Let's look it up. A feeling of extreme triumphant joy or jubilance. Alright. Isn't that what? Yeah, it is. Bean and toast lovers. Can't believe how far we've had to travel. Casting a glance back at his companions, he could see that they were all as tired as he was, limping onwards with tails drooping. An unexpected gust of wind drove sand into Alderpaw's eyes and brought the sound of cats' voices drifting up from the gorge below. Strong but unfamiliar cat scents came with it. Blinking fiercely, Alderpaw raised his tail to warn the others to be silent, and he crept forward to crouch at the very edge of the cliff. When his vision cleared, he made out paths and jutting outcrops in the rock face, and, far below, a pile of reddish boulders blocking the way ahead. The river poured out into a gaping black hole in the rock and dropped into a pool before flowing away down the gorge. This is where the river begins, Alderpaw breathed out. It must be where SkyClan's camp is. It was a weird place for a camp, he thought. He couldn't see any dens or any fresh kill pile, just heaps of red stone with the river cutting its way through. Cats live here? He asked himself, bewildered. Yet as he looked more closely, he could see cats slipping between the boulders, pausing to talk to one another, sunning themselves, just as his own clanmates did in their camp. Are these the cats from your dreams? Alderpaw realized that Needlepaw had crept up beside him and was peering over his shoulder. They're too far away for me to be sure, he responded, but the red rock seems familiar. Needlepaw edged up beside him and gave the scene a closer scrutiny. They might be far away, she continued, but they don't look like cats in need of help to me. Realizing she was right, Alderpaw let out a sigh. Maybe I misinterpreted my vision. What? Sparkpaw, craning her neck to gaze down on Alderpaw's other side, began to bristle with outrage. You led us all this way for nothing? She hissed. We can't know Alderpaw's wrong, Needlepaw retorted. Not from this distance. Maybe we should get closer. Alderpaw was grateful for her defense, for how she always had the spirit to adapt to setbacks, but at the same time, he worried that Sparkpaw had a point. What if this journey has been wasted? Okay, what are we waiting for? Needlepaw asked, springing to her paws. Let's find a way down. Instantly, Mole Whisker moved to block her. Are you mouse-brained? He demanded. We can't just stroll into their camp. None of us know much about SkyClan, and they don't know much about us either. There's no way of being sure we can trust them. He gave his tail an irritable twitch. Sandstorm was the only one who had met the SkyClan cats, and she's dead now. Needlepaw shrugged, unmoved by the older cat's argument. We can only find answers by getting closer. Alderpaw wouldn't have dreamed of these cats if they weren't important, right? Alderpaw swallowed nervousness. That's true, he meowed, trying to sound strong and decisive. Lead on, Needlepaw. After a moment's searching, Needlepaw found the beginning of a path that led into the gorge, winding to and fro across the rock face. Alderpaw followed hard on her paw steps, hugging the cliff wall to stay well away from the drop at the edge of the path and feeling the heat of the sun-warmed rocks striking up through his pads. To his relief, the others headed down after them. Alderpaw must have bees in his brain, he heard Sparkpaw mutter, following this stupid ShadowClan furball. Before they had descended more than a few fox lengths into the gorge, Alderpaw heard a loud yowl coming from below. Turning towards the sound, he spotted a long-furred gray tom staring straight at him. The yowl had attracted 3 of the other SkyClan cats, who raced towards him. Then all 4 began to climb the rocks, with the gray tom in the lead. Uh-oh! Needlepaw murmured. Well, we had to meet them sometime, Elderpaw responded. He slid past Needlepaw to take the lead and patted down a couple of tail links as far as a wide ledge. We'll wait for them here, and for Starkland's sake, remember that we're here to help. We're not looking for a fight. He had hardly finished speaking when the SkyClan cats came into sight, springing confidently up the narrow path until they faced the questioning cats on the ledge. The Grey Tom took another pace forward until he stood nose to Alderpaw, who tried not to flinch as the SkyClan cat's cold green eyes raked over him. This was a powerful cat, his shoulder fur bristling and his tail bushed up. If you've come for the territory, he snarled, you can think again. You're way outnumbered. Alderpaw hesitated, wondering if she should respond. Although it was his quest, Molewhisker and Cherryfall were the senior cats now that Sandstorm wasn't with him. Maybe they should be the ones to speak? But when Alderpaw glanced back at Molewhisker and Cherryfall, neither of them moved. It's up to me then, he thought, turning back towards the hostile long-furred Tom. We don't want your territory, he explained, his voice quiet and calm. But we've traveled a long way to meet you, the cats of SkyClan who lived in this gorge. The Grey Tom tilted his head to one side, a glint in his green eyes. What do cats from far away know about SkyClan? He asked. Not much, Alderpaw admitted, but we're here to learn more. The Tom let out a disdainful snort. Then you'd better come and speak to our leader. He jerked his head to indicate that they should follow him, then turned and padded back down the path. Alderpaw had only taken a single paw step to follow him when Sparkpaw pushed forward to his side. Are you sure this is a good idea? She whispered. Would you be so doubtful if another cat were leading us and not me? Alderpaw wanted to hiss the words at his sister, but he bit them back with clenched jaws. Bramblestar sent us on this journey, he murmured. Wherever it leads, must be right. The three cats who had accompanied the Grey Tom parted to let the traveling cats pass, then closed in around them. As he got a closer look, Alderpaw saw that one was a black Tom, and the others were she-cats, one tabby, and one with white fur stained with dirt and dust. In fact, all four cats looked as if they could do with a good grooming. Don't SkyClan cats ever wash? They're stained from the clay, aren't they? Alderpaw asked himself. He could just imagine what any ThunderClan mentor would say to an apprentice who went around looking like that. Then he reminded himself that SkyClan had been driven out of their original territory and exiled to the Scourge. They had lived separately from the other clans for so long, maybe it wasn't surprising that they had slightly different customs. As they padded down the path, Needlepaw sidled past Alderpaw and caught up with the Grey Tom in the lead. What's your name? She asked. The Grey Tom's ears flicked in surprise. Alderpaw guessed at the ShadowClan apprentice. The Grey Tom's ears flicked in surprise. Alderpaw guessed at the ShadowClan apprentice's confident tone. I'm called Rain, he replied. Just Rain? Alderpaw wondered why Needlepaw didn't ask that question. You probably do things differently, he told himself again, even names. But he was sure he remembered Sandstorm mentioning SkyClan cats called Leafstar, Sharpclaw, and Echo Song. Those are proper warrior names. But then Sandstorm was here so long ago. By now, Needlepaw was walking beside Rain, chatting without a trace of apprehension. Thinking that perhaps she had the right idea, Alderpaw turned to the tabby she-cat, who was the closest to him of their escort. Hi, my name's Alderpaw, he began. The tabby she-cat ignored him, except for one glance from baleful yellow eyes. Okay, be like that, Alderpaw thought. He was disappointed that the SkyClan cats didn't seem more welcoming, but he told himself that perhaps they would open up once they knew him and his companions better and discovered why they were there. The long-furred Tom led Alderpaw and his companions to a pile of rocks where the river gushed out. Sitting at the base of the rock pile was a strong, muscular Tom, his white fur broken up by black spots around his eyes and his long black tail. Sunlight gleamed on his glossy pelt, and his blue eyes shone as he surveyed the newcomers. Alderpaw could imagine this cat perched up on the rocks to call a clan meeting. But no! His belly lurched suddenly. This isn't the clan leader I saw in my vision, making a new warrior. Glancing around, trying to push down fear, he saw more and more of the Sky Clan cats slipping out of the shadows, or from cracks in the surrounding rocks, slowly encircling him and his little group. He examined each one of them, hoping to recognize at least one cat from his vision, but none of them looked at all familiar. Why? Uh-oh. Seems like they've been taken over by rogues and kicked out. The White Tom rose to his paws, a sneering look on his face. Who are these? He asked Rain. Lost kitties. Alderpaw saw his clanmates begin to bristle at the insult. Steady, he whispered. Don't provoke them. We need to know more. Greetings, Darktail. Rain dipped his head. These strangers are from far away, looking for Sky Clan. So they call their leader Darktail, Alderpaw thought, growing even more bewildered. Why not Dark Star? Or is this just another way these weird cats are different from us? Darktail turned an unblinking gaze on Alderpaw. What do you want with Sky Clan? Staring into the leader's eerie blue eyes, Alderpaw felt his fur prickle. With apprehension, he wished that either Molewhisker or Cherryfall would speak up rather than leave him to take the lead. I'm from ThunderClan, he replied. Choking back his uneasiness, I've been sent to find the cats of SkyClan. Why? Darktail asked. Alderpaw wasn't sure how to answer that. I thought we'd find out more when we arrived. Every cat's survival depends on us all working together. Or every clan's survival depends on all of us working together, he mewed uncertainly, and was relieved to see Cherryfall and Molewhisker dipping their heads in assent. Darktail narrowed his eyes. Are you asking me and my cats to go with you to this ThunderClan? Feeling like a kid before its eyes opened, groping around in the dark, Alderpaw nodded, but he still didn't know whether SkyClan was really what StarClan meant for them to embrace. If I convince them to journey back with us to the lake, what will Bramblestar think? How would we cope with all the extra cats? Do you need our help? Darktail pressed him. No, Alderpaw blurted. We're not asking for help with a fight or anything. The clans are all settled in their own territories, and there aren't many disagreements because there's plenty of prey for every cat. Do you need our help? He added silently to himself. Or have I completely misunderstood my vision? Oh, Sandstorm, I wish you were here to help me figure this out. Darktail seemed to think for a moment, then inclined his head politely to Alderpaw. I'm impressed, he purred. I appreciate that you have made a long journey to find SkyClan, but I hope you understand. We can't just abandon our territory at the urging of strangers. Alderpaw felt some of his tension ease. At least Darktail sounds reasonable. But he hadn't expected the meeting with SkyClan to go this way at all, and part of him would have liked to leave and pretend that none of this had ever happened. These cats didn't seem to be in any need of help. Then he remembered his vision, especially his dream of the cats shrieking in anguish on the bleak moor. I can't just turn around and go home, he thought, wishing once again that Sandstorm were with him. Why don't we stick around for a bit? It was Needlepaw who spoke, her head and tail raised fearlessly as she addressed Darktail. We could join in with some hunts and patrols. It wouldn't take long for you SkyClan cats to see that we can be trusted. Alderpaw wasn't sure whether he liked that suggestion or not. Needlepaw would make a good leader, I'll be honest. She's a little sassy, but she's confident. She stands her ground. I don't mind her. She's kind of entitled, but I haven't read a cat like her in a while. She's not irking me anymore. Yeah. She's unique. Sassy, yeah. Darktail remained quiet for a moment, his blue gaze resting on each cat for a heartbeat before returning to Alderpaw. Very well, he meowed at last. Rain, show our guests where they can sleep. And yes, he added to Alderpaw, there's probably quite a bit that we can learn from one another. Alderpaw nodded in reluctant agreement, though his pelt still pricked with a shiver, and a shiver ran through him from ears to tail tip. Why does this feel so wrong? The sun was warm on Alderpaw's pelt as he bent his head to lap from the stream. Gazing down into the water, he wished he could wash his paws, but he knew that that would only make it easier for dust and grit to stick to them. How can the SkyClan cats bear to live in such a filthy place? He asked himself. Maybe if they do return with us to the forest, the ways of the other clans will rub off on them. The evening before, when rain had taken him and his friends to a den, a bare cave in the side of the gorge with nothing on the floor but sand, Alderpaw had settled to sleep in the hope that StarClan would send another vision to guide him. But now he couldn't even remember whether he had dreamed at all. A pang of homesickness pierced him, sharp as a thorn, as he longed to feel cool grass beneath his pads, and to hear the gentle rustling of leaves and as branches swayed above his head. I hope SkyClan will decide to come with us, just so we can head home soon. My clan doesn't even know that Sandstorm is dead. Grief tugged at Alderpaw's belly as he remembered the wise old she-cat. She would have known what to do, and helped him figure out why none of the cats here looked like the cats from his vision. She would have worked out why they didn't seem to be looking for help. Is my timing wrong? Was I dreaming of past SkyClan cats? A yowl from a little way downstream distracted Alderpaw from his thoughts. Turning, he spotted Needlepaw, who was perched on a boulder a few tail lengths away. The hunters are back, she announced, and they're bringing prey. Alderpaw left the waterside and bounded back to the center of the camp to meet the hunting patrols. His belly rumbled when he saw the quantities of prey that lay around Darktail, as if presented for his approval. The hunters stood around the prey in a wide half-circle, with Rain closest to their leader. The rest of the questing cats clustered around Alderpaw and watched as Darktail chose a plump pigeon and tore mouthfuls of flesh from it. Then the SkyClan leader nodded to Rain, who stepped forward to choose a squirrel for himself. This is weird, Sparkpaw muttered into Alderpaw's ear. Where's their fresh kill pile? Who takes food to the elders and the nursing queens? Before Alderpaw could even try to answer a question, Rain stepped back with the squirrel in his jaws. As if at a signal, the hunters closed in, butting heads and hissing as they tried to grab the juiciest pieces of fresh kill. At the edges of the circle, Alderpaw spotted 2 or 3 skinny elders who tried to join in the fight for food, only to be shoved back by the stronger cats who crouched over their prey, glaring around as they ripped flesh from the bones. Aww! A she-cat with 3 tiny kits mewling around her darted in and grabbed a vole, but a huge tabby tom tore it out of her jaws and thrust her away with a powerful stroke of his hind legs. The questing cats shared glances of horror and confusion. What do they think they're doing? Cherryfall breathed out. Beside Alderpaw, Needlepaw shrugged. Maybe they've never been taught the warrior code. I'm surprised you've even heard of it, Sparkpaw muttered. Needlepaw gave her a sly, sideways glance. Just because I don't always follow the stupid rules doesn't mean I don't know they exist, she retorted. Then, without hesitation, she dived into the midst of the chaos of butting heads and swiping claws, easily batting 2 or 3 of the younger cats aside. Heartbeats later, she emerged from the skirmish with a mouse and crouched down in the shade of a rock to gulp it down. She's so funny. Alderpaw spotted Darktail strolling back to the pile of rocks, with a casual glance over his shoulders at the fighting cats. He curled up beneath an overhang and watched the scene with slitted eyes. Alderpaw's belly was growling, but he couldn't bring himself to join in the melee. Melee? I'm not gonna battle elders or kits for food. Beside him, he heard Sparkpaw stifling a growl. This isn't fair, she murmured. Some of these SkyClan cats must go hungry day after day. That's why so many of them look thin and ragged. As she finished speaking, she bounded forward, skirting the skirmish, and marched boldly up to Darktail. Sparkpaw, no! Alderpaw exclaimed, hurrying after her. To his relief, he realized that Molewhisker and Cherryfall were following too. Why do you eat like this? Sparkpaw piped up in a challenging tone as she planted herself in front of Darktail. Alderpaw wasn't sure whether to be impressed by her courage or embarrassed by her manners. We are SkyClan's guests, after all. What do you mean? Darktail asked, lashing his tail. In the clans, Sparkpaw explained, we all bring the prey back to camp and make a fresh kill pile. Some cats will take food to the elders and the nursing queens and to any cat who are sick. And then the warriors and apprentices are allowed to help themselves. We don't fight like that, she finished with a disdainful flick of her ears. Darktail's only response was to narrow his eyes. Alderpaw stepped up to his sister's side, ready to defend her if the Sky Clan leader struck her. It's only fair, Sparkpaw went on. You must have eaten like that in the past, since you're warriors too, and you're supposed to follow the warrior code. Alderpaw noticed a glint of amusement in Darktail's eyes at the word warrior code. We've developed our own code, the leader told Sparkpaw. After we left the other clans, Sky Clan realized our members were becoming weak, and we decided to make up some rules. He doesn't know the true story. He's making it up. Sky Clan rules reward the strong and aggressive, the cats who will best defend the clan. Sparkpaw looked confused. What about sick cats then, or elders? The code, the warrior code, the code that the cats code? Darktail shrugged. They learned to take care of themselves. Alderpaw winced as he saw Sparkpaw's neck fur beginning to bristle in anger. Then why do you even bother living in a clan? It's rogues who are out for themselves. A low growl of anger rose from deep in Darktail's chest, and he slid out his claws. Hastily, Mole Whisker stepped forward, thrusting himself between Darktail and Sparkpaw. She's young and curious, that's all, he meowed. But that's enough for now. Come on. He gave Sparkpaw a shove back in the direction of their den. It reminds me more of the rogues, the fake clan or whatever. One Eye, was that his name? One Eye's clan? Where they had like the big pile and everybody stood, and then he was like, you get this prey, and you get this prey, and do you deserve this prey or not? Fight for it! Yeah. Which makes sense because they're probably definitely rogues. Just all in the same area. Sparkpaw was clearly upset as they headed away, but now the fighting was over. The hunters were relaxing in the sun, lazily grooming themselves. Alderpaw spotted Needlepaw with them. Meanwhile, the elders and the she-cat with the kits were picking over the remains of the prey, searching out any morsels the hunters had missed. The kits were wailing with hunger. We should go home, Sparkpaw whispered as they settled themselves in their den. These weird cats don't need our help, and I'm not even sure that they are clan cats anymore. Alderpaw found that he agreed with her about the way Sky Clan cats were behaving. What Darktail had told them just now about the way Sky Clan had changed the rules didn't seem to fit with Bramblestar's story of how Firestar and Sandstorm had traveled upriver to restore the clans. It's also confusing, he began. What are you talking about? Needlepaw interrupted as she strolled into the den. I said we should go home, Sparkpaw repeated. These cats don't need us. What? Needlepaw sounded scornful. We're here to find what lies in the shadows, right? And we found it. These cats are really, well, dark. We can't turn away now. I think Sparkpaw's right. Cherryfall gave Alderpaw a serious look. Something is off about these cats. I think they're beyond our help. Is all this really what you saw in your dream? Alderpaw glanced around at his cats, sensing that they were really doubting him now. It's probably a bunch of cats that took over Sky Clan's territory, and they don't necessarily think of themselves as Sky Clan, but because these cats, like the questing cats, introduce themselves as we're looking for, hi, we're here for Sky Clan, and they knew that before the cats used to be called Sky Clan, they're like, all right, well, they're here thinking that we're Sky Clan. They don't know, so let's just entertain them. They're just like, he's a very smart cat, taking what he knows, and what he's learned from them speaking and using it as what he can tell. them to pull it off. Otherpaw glanced around at his cats, sensing that they were really doubting him now. I'm not sure, he confessed, but I can't believe that Bramblestar got it so wrong, or that Sandstorm died for nothing. I don't know the reason, but I do know that this is where we were meant to be. He waited tensely as the other cats exchanged doubtful glances. At least Cherryfall gave a nod. Very well then, she meowed. We'll stay and try to figure it out. Alderpaw let out a sigh of relief. Thank you. I hope StarClan sends me another vision soon, he added to himself, because I really don't know what we're doing here. Hi, John. How are you? Chapter 16. When the last scraps of prey had been picked over, the rest of SkyClan cats drifted away. One of them, a young orange she-cat, stayed close to their leader. She was coughing so hard she could barely stand on her paws. Alderpaw watched in shock as Darktail swung one huge paw and thumped the young she-cat hard on her back. Stop that racket now, he growled. The she-cat gave him a scared look. She wasn't coughing anymore, though Alderpaw didn't think that the swat on her back had done her any good. She was obviously struggling to suppress her coughs. Alderpaw patted up and dipped his head politely to Darktail. It sounds as though she's suffering from white cough, he mewed, indicating that the she-cat with a wave of his tail. She should see your medicine cat. Both SkyClan cats gave him a blank look. Alderpaw felt as though he had missed his footing and plunged down into a dark, icy river. They don't have a medicine cat? Struggling to control his shock, he continued, White cough isn't a big deal. Some tansy should help. Darktail still looked blank, as if he wanted to ask what tansy was. Alderpaw's confusion deepened. Sandstorm mentioned that Echo Song was SkyClan's medicine cat. So what happened to her? And why has their leader never heard of a basic herb like tansy? Meanwhile, the young she-cat had started coughing again, backing away from Darktail as she was afraid of making him angry again. I'll be right back, Alderpaw mewed. I'm gonna find some tansy. He headed for the path that would take him to the cliff top, meaning to search for herbs among the rough grass and the bushes there. Before he reached it, he spotted a den low down in the cliff wall. Because of the jutting line of the rocks, it was very close to the water, and a few wilting plants grew close beside it. Are they all stuck in a cave? Prisoners? Alderpaw bounded up to the den and gave the plants a sniff. At once he recognized tansy, along with sorrel, yarrow, and chervil. Some cat had planted them, he realized, just as Leafpool and Jayfeather planted herbs near the old two-leg nest. But clearly no cat was taking care of them now. This has to be where the medicine cat stayed, Alderpaw thought. But why would they have such a perfect medicine cat's den and no medicine cat? Maybe Echo Song died without training an apprentice? The tansy leaves were limp, and the scent wasn't as strong as Alderpaw was used to in the forest. But he knew it was better than nothing. Tearing off a few stems, he padded back towards the rock pile. When he returned, he discovered the orange she-cat lying on her side, revealing a stalk of white belly fur. The other SkyClan cats were keeping their distance, going about their business without even looking at their sick clanmate, who was rasping and spluttering. Her cough is even worse than I thought at first, Alderpaw realized with a stab of anxiety. Alderpaw dropped the tansy in front of the orange cat. Eat this, he told her. The she-cat looked at him, her green eyes widening in confusion and a trace of fear. I will get better, won't I? She wheezed. I don't want to be exiled. Horror touched Alderpaw like a frozen claw. Gently, he laid one forepaw on the she-cat's flank. What's your name? He asked. Flame, the she-cat choked out, before giving way to another spasm of coughing. I'm Alderpaw. I'm learning to be a medicine cat in my own clan. I promise you the tansy will help. As Flame began to chew the tansy leaves, Alderpaw stepped back to give her a little breathing space. Will that work? A rough voice rasped into his ear. Startled, Alderpaw turned to see Darktail glaring sternly at him. Tansy usually clears up white cough quite quickly, he replied, trying to sound reassuring. But if white cough is left too long, it can turn into green cough, and then Flame would have been in real trouble. Darktail began to look interested. Alderpaw guessed he had never heard the names of these sicknesses before. Maybe in SkyClan they're called something different? So what cures green cough? The white and black Tom asked, not sounding as if he was much concerned about Flame. You can still use Tansy, Alderpaw told him, but catmint is much better, if you can get it. Darktail ruffled his whiskers. And what about wounds? Will catmint cure those as well? No. Doesn't this cat know anything? For wounds, you would use cobweb to stop the bleeding, and comfrey root for the pain. Marigold or horsetail if the wound gets infected. Darktail nodded. And for fever? For a moment, Alderpaw couldn't remember. This is worse than being tested by Jayfeather. I wish he were here. Forage leaves, he mewed at last, and dandelion to help the feverish cat sleep. But Darktail, he couldn't resist asking the question, don't you treat your sick cats? For a heartbeat, Darktail looked confused. Of course we do, he replied with a flick of his tail. We just do it differently. Why should all clans behave the same? Because we all came from the same place? Alderpaw thought, but he couldn't bring himself to say the words aloud. He hadn't mentioned anything to Darktail about how the SkyClan cats had been driven from the forest, and he was reluctant to say anything now. Ramblestar told me how terrible it was for SkyClan. The other clans were wrong not to share their territory. SkyClan might blame us for it, even though it was so long ago. But Alderpaw still couldn't understand why Darktail seemed so unfamiliar with the way the clans lived. Have they really wandered so far away from the warrior code? Then understanding started to grow inside Alderpaw, like a flower unfolding from a bud. Perhaps the prophecy meant something different from what he had thought at first. Maybe SkyClan was in shadow, not just because they lived in a distant and forgotten place, but because they had lost their connection to the warrior code, and everything that made clan cats different from rogues. So it must be my task to guide them back again and clear the sky. Alderpaw's whiskers twitched happily. If you'd like. He meowed to Darktail. I'll take some of your cats on a tour of your territory to see what herbs we can find and show them what they're used for. Of course, he added modestly, I'm only an apprentice. Darktail seemed unconcerned by Alderpaw's inexperience. He gave an improving nod. Hey, Rain! He yowled. Hi, Max. I'm reading a book right now. The long-furred gray Tom sprang up from where he sat at the edge of the river, talking to Needlepaw, and bounded over to his leader. What do you want, Darktail? He asked, with a respectful dip of his head to his leader. Go with this cat, Darktail ordered, indicating Alderpaw with a flick of his tail. He's gonna look for herbs and tell you what to do with them. Listen to him. He's an apprentice. Okay, Rain responded, though he looked as confused as Alderpaw felt. Darktail said apprentice like it was important. You don't have to go. You can just hang out if you want. This feels so silly. It is quite silly. I'll come too, Needlepaw added, sidling up to them. I'd like to get a better look at the gorge. Alderpaw couldn't imagine why Needlepaw would want to see any more of such a barren, dirty place. There was no point in objecting. Needlepaw's weird anyway. Nothing she does makes sense. Rain took the lead as the three cats headed downstream, passing the den that Alderpaw was sure must have been Echo songs at one point. With every paw step, Alderpaw began to feel more optimistic. If he could teach these cats how to treat illness, then he might start to show more compassion for one another, instead of heartlessly ignoring sick cats like Flame. They would start to feel and behave more like a real clan, and then they could return to the forest as real allies. This is the first stage of completing the quest to help SkyClan find the way back to clan life. Alderpaw shifted restlessly in his den, unable to sleep. He kept thinking about the tour of the territory he had taken with Needlepaw and Rain, and how much Rain needed to be taught. They had found yarrow and more tansy, and Rain had seemed to think that these two herbs could cure anything. You'll need to search for herbs on either side of the gorge, Alderpaw pointed out, and maybe even travel further than your usual hunting territory. There are lots of different diseases that can strike a cat, and these need different herbs and different kinds of treatment. Rain had shrugged, seeming okay with that. It makes more sense for Darktail to lead us to new territory soon, Ian meowed. Now Alderpaw curled up more tightly and tried to will himself into sleep. He was desperate for another vision, perhaps a visit from Sandstorm to reassure him that everything was happening how it was supposed to? He knew deep within himself that there was something not right about SkyClan. However hard he tried to tell himself that it was only because they had lived apart from the other clans for so long, he couldn't shake the feeling that all of this was somehow wrong. Best friend! Hi, Dark Eagle. Was there a reason why he hadn't had any visions since they arrived in the gorge? Then a reason occurred to him, and he shivered all over, wanting to mew in terror like a tiny lost kid. Suppose StarClan can't reach me in this place. As Alderpaw shuddering died away, he was distracted by the sound of voices. He had already discovered how the walls of the gorge trapped sound, so it was useless trying to have a quiet conversation, or say anything they didn't want the SkyClan cats to hear. He wrapped his tail over his ears to blot out the sound, only to raise his head alertly as he heard Darktail's voice. It'll be easy. As silent as he could, Alderpaw edged towards the entrance to the den and peered out into the darkness. There was just enough light from the moon for him to make out Darktail and Rain a few tail lengths away, along with a long-furred black she-cat named Raven. I don't know. Raven mewed doubtfully. The journey will be long and hard. I've heard stories about the huge thunderpads out there, and how many cats lost their lives on them. Thunderpads hold no fear for us, Darktail responded with a dismissive wave of his tail. Hope thrilled through Alderpaw. Maybe the SkyClan cats are deciding to leave tomorrow, to journey with us to the lake and reunite with the other clans. He rose to his paws, intending to join them and tell them how happy he was about their plan, but before he could leave the den, the SkyClan cats split up, padding off in 3 different directions. Movement in the shadows caught Alderpaw's eyes, and to his astonishment, he spotted Needlepaw emerging from the shelter of a boulder and padding up to Rain. Until then, he hadn't realized she wasn't asleep in the den with him and his clanmates. Dang, Needlepaw's trying to heavy flirt with this guy. I wanna think that Needlepaw's kind of trying to seduce him to get info. That's what I'm hoping. Sounds like you're close to making your minds up, Needlepaw purred to Rain. The big gray Tom loomed over her. It's rude to eavesdrop, he hissed. I hardly had a choice. Needlepaw was not at all intimidated. The voice was even playful. You're not exactly subtle in how you go about your plotting. Rain muttered something in reply, but because he turned to walk away, Alderpaw couldn't make out the words. Needlepaw pattered alongside the SkyClan cat, and without knowing why, Alderpaw emerged from the den and followed them as they headed upstream towards the rock pile. Although he kept his distance, he could still hear Needlepaw's teasing purr. Life in the other clans is different, Rain. There are rules. You and Darktail and the others will have to learn them if you want to fit in. Everything will work out, Rain responded, just the way it's meant to. Alderpaw couldn't decide whether the big Tom's voice was hopeful or amused, but either way, he wasn't sure he liked it. I've heard enough, he thought, turning back towards the den. But as he turned, his paw dislodged a pebble that clinked against another. Needlepaw and Rain both swerved around to stare at him. Who's that? Rain asked sharply. Hi, Celovlo. Celoflo? Cell of flow? Cell of low? Only me, Alderpaw murmured. I, just came out to make dirt. Not waiting for any comment, he scampered off into the darkness, panting hard as he reached the den where his clanmates still slept peacefully. His hopeful feelings had evaporated, the flutter in his chest replaced by a heavy weight that seemed to be pushing from the inside, trying to force him to the ground. Very suspicious. Chapter 17. Alderpaw crawled out of the den the next morning, feeling so exhausted that he could hardly put one paw in front of the other. Pondering how he could return the SkyClan cats to clan life when they obviously had no idea what it meant to be a warrior, had kept him awake all night, and so had the ache in his chest after he'd heard Needlepaw talking to Rain. He had a little crush. I think we should hunt, Whisker announced when all the questing cats had emerged from the den and sat grooming themselves at the waterside. It's no use of us to expect to eat with SkyClan cats. Let's do that, Cherryfall agreed. I can't wait to get out of the StarClan Forsaken Gorge. Oh, I don't know, Needlepaw yawned, showing a mouthful of spiky teeth. It's not so bad when you get used to it. You stay then, Sparkpaw snapped, and added under her breath, I can't ask you to come with us anyways. That's enough, Whisker meowed, raising to his paws to speak with authority. Needlepaw, you can do what you want. The rest of us are gonna hunt. It looks like there's thicker forest on the other side of the river, Cherryfall pointed out. Let's go that way. Few of the SkyClan cats were around, and none of them tried to stop the ThunderClan cats as Whisker led the way across the pile of rocks. Elderpaw stumbled along the rear, convinced that he would be even worse at hunting when he could scarcely keep his eyes open. But when he found himself under the trees, Elderpaw revived a little. It felt good to have damp earth and leaf mold beneath his paws again, and to catch glimpses of sky between crisscrossing branches. The leaves were beginning to turn brown and gold, and for the first time, Elderpaw realized that Leafpaw was almost upon them. Cherryfall and Sparkpaw headed off together, while Whisker turned to Elderpaw. Do you want to hunt with me? He asked. Elderpaw shook his head. No, thanks. He couldn't bear having his former mentor watch him fail again. I'll just practice on my own. Okay, see you back at camp. Whisker pushed his way through a clump of bracken and vanished. Once his sound and scent had died away, Elderpaw slid deeper into the forest. His ears pricked and his jaws parted to pick up the first scent of prey. Soon he heard a chirping sound from above, along with the rustling of leaves and the flutter of wings. Looking up, he spotted a thrush perched on the branch of a nearby tree. Elderpaw's belly rumbled, and he realized how hungry he was. He had barely eaten anything since he and his friends had arrived in the gorge 2 days before. He wondered if he would be in trouble if he caught the bird for himself instead of taking it back to camp, then reminded himself that he wasn't in ThunderClan now. I'm not going to eat with SkyClan, the way they shove the kits and elders around. He stalked the thrush as it fluttered deeper into the forest. Then, keeping 2 trees back, he scrambled up the trunk of a beech tree and out onto the branch. He tried to remember everything he had been taught before. He'd been told he was a terrible hunter and would be much better off as a medicine cat. Elderpaw, that's not how it went. You silly goose. Let's not think about that, he decided. It's just a small bird. I can do this. Creeping forward stealthily, Elderpaw managed to cross into the tree where the thrush was perching. It seemed to be unaware of him. He was bunching his muscles to pounce when another cat exploded upward from the forest floor in a massive leap. Its forepaws were outstretched to grab the bird, but it missed by a mouse length. With a yowl of rage, the cat fell backwards, tumbling back to the ground. The thrush, startled, flew away. Fox-stung, Elderpaw hissed. The strange cat, a ragged, skinny gray tom, scrambled to his paws and glared up at Elderpaw. It's your fault I missed it, he snarled. Didn't you see I was already stalking it? You made me rush. But Elderpaw had forgotten all about the thrush. Now that he got a clear sight of the newcomer, he was too stunned to do anything but stare. This is one of the cats from my visions. He remembered seeing the gray tom and the circle of cats who had watched the ceremony when Leafstar had been made a new warrior. But then he had been a healthy clan cat with glossy pelt. Now he just looked like a mangy rogue, all his ribs showing through matted fur. Who are you? He asked. My name's Mist Feather, the cat replied roughly. What's it to you? Cautiously, never taking his gaze from the gray tom, Elderpaw climbed down the tree trunk. Keeping his distance so that Mist Feather wouldn't think he was looking for a fight, he dipped his head politely. Greetings, he mewed. I'm sorry about the thrush. My name's Elderpaw, and I came from ThunderClan. The gray tom's eyes widened in a mixture of wonder and disbelief. ThunderClan? He exclaimed. Then you must know Firestar. I wasn't born when he came to restore my clan, but his story was told at every full moon upon the Sky Rock. We honored him above all cats. Dang. Elderpaw felt as if every hair on his pelt was rising in excitement. He opened his jaws to tell Mist Feather that Firestar was dead, then decided this wasn't the moment. Instead, he asked, Were you exiled from your clan? The Great Tom stared back at him. Was I exiled? He asked, bitterness invading his tone. No, I wasn't. It was the whole clan. What do you mean? Elderpaw asked, staring at him incredulously. Mistfeather beckoned him nearer with a twitch of his tail. Elderpaw sat among the roots of the tree where he had stalked the thrush, and the Great Tom crouched close beside him. You meant those cats in the gorge, right? Mistfeather began. I bet they let you think they were SkyClan, but they're not. They're vicious rogues who attacked the real SkyClan and took our territory for themselves. We've been knowing that. Alder's first reaction was a profound relief. I knew there was something wrong about those cats. They're not a clan at all. No wonder they don't know how to behave. But he was also surprised to hear that such a terrible fate had come to SkyClan. Is this what my visions were trying to tell me? That SkyClan had been exiled and needs my help? Where did the rogues come from? He asked. I have no idea, Mistfeather replied. And I have no idea what rules they follow, if they follow any at all. They're evil. In the wake of his reply, doubts began to creep into Elderpaw's mind. Surely a whole clan should have been able to fight them off? Mistfeather couldn't meet his gaze, his whiskers drooping in shame. Times have been hard for us, and to tell you the truth, we had as many daylight warriors as we did cats who lived all the time in the gorge. Daylight warriors? Elderpaw asked, mystified. Cats who came to hunt and train with us warriors during the day. Mistfeather explained. Then at night they would go back to their two legs. Oh, interesting. We had as many daylight warriors as we did cats who lived all the time. Part-time warrior cats. You mean they were kitty pets? Elderpaw was so outraged that he could hardly get the words out. You let kitty pets in your clan? It worked for us, Mistfeather mewed defensively. And the daylight warriors were brave and worthy clanmates, but the rogues attacked at night when they were with their housefolk, so we were terribly outnumbered. And the rogues won. Mistfeather nodded. We were trying to protect one another, not kill our enemies, and it's easy to defend cats who do that. And it's easy to defeat cats who do that. So where did the rest of your clan go? Elderpaw asked, glancing around as if he expected more cats to emerge from the undergrowth. I don't know, Mistfeather told him. We all scattered. I'm the only one left here. I have no idea how many of the others survived or where they might be. Why did you stay? Deep grief flooded into Mistfeather's amber eyes. My mate was killed in the battle. I decided I'd rather live as a loner in the place where she died than leave to look for new territory. Elderpaw's heart clenched with pity and fury. Everything makes sense now. Guilt tore at him like a fox's fangs as he realized that his vision had been real. SkyClan had needed help, but he and his friends had come too late. That's why the cats in the gorge don't act like... that's why the cats in the gorge don't act like a clan, he murmured half to himself. It's because they're not a clan. They're just rogues who pounced on a group of cats when they were vulnerable. They're no better than thieves. Oh, what do you know about it? The harsh voice came from behind Elderpaw. He sprang up and whirled around to see Darktail standing a fox length away, a sneer on his face. His unsettling blue eyes showed almost no emotion as he regarded Elderpaw and Mistfeather. It seems you've met one of the dregs of the gorge, he meowed to Elderpaw. Somehow he's still alive, and it sounds like you're plotting against my cats. Elderpaw backed away until he had the trunk of the tree behind him. His gaze flickered to and fro, hoping that some of his clanmates might be nearby, but there was no sound or scent of them. In the dark shadows cast by the trees, Darktail seemed to be twice his size. I'll have to think fast to get out of this. But weariness and hunger seemed to have made Mistfeather mouse-brained. Lurching to his paws, he arched his back and hissed at Darktail. You're a filthy rogue who stole territory! Territory belongs to those strong enough to defend it, or to take it, Darktail pointed out, unmoved. If SkyClan couldn't dig their claws into the land they claimed as theirs, they have nothing to complain about. And if you want to shake your claim, Mistfeather, do you want to fight me for the territory right here, right now? Elderpaw's outrage almost choked him. Can't Darktail see that Mistfeather is in no state to fight any cat? That's the point, dude. But the exiled cat puffed up his fur and slid out his claws, drawing his lip back in a snarl. Do your worst, Darktail! Alderpaw started forward to place himself between the two cats, but Mistfeather waved him back with a sweep of his tail. Stay back, he hissed. A fight is a fight. No, it'll be a slaughter, Alderpaw thought, as reluctantly he stepped back. Mistfeather lunged forward, aiming a blow at Darktail, but the rogue leader slipped aside easily and raked his claws down the back of Mistfeather's head. You'll need to be faster than that, he taunted the Grey Tom. Undaunted, Mistfeather spun around and launched himself at the rogue leader again, but Darktail avoided the second blow as easily as the first. Mistfeather's breath was already coming in ragged, wheezing gasps. He staggered and almost fell as Darktail thrust him off contemptuously with one paw. Alderpaw couldn't help admiring Mistfeather's courage. As he watched the one-sided fight, he recognized some skillful fighting moves, and he realized that the SkyClan cat would have been a formidable opponent if only he had had the strength. Mistfeather scrambled around and charged at Darktail again and again, but each time the rogue sidestepped clear of his feeble swipes and landed a strike of his own. Hi-happy! Soon blood was trickling down Mistfeather's sides, and tufts of his fur littered the forest floor. At last Mistfeather was completely spent, his chest heaving as he gasped for breath. Darktail padded slowly up to him and stood over him. Mistfeather raised one forepaw to strike at him, but the movement was slow and listless. Darktail easily swatted the paw aside. Alderpaw's muscles tightened with foreboding as he saw the real SkyClan cat sink to the ground, exhausted and defenseless. Stupid mange pelt, Darktail growled. You should have stayed away. Stop! Alderpaw said, trying to move forward to protect the defeated cat. He was too slow. Jesus Christ. Darktail reared up and swept one forepaw around in a slashing blow. His claws ripped into Mistfeather's throat, opening it up so that blood gushed out in arcing spurts. Huh? Mistfeather's whole body spasmed and went limp. Alderpaw gazed in horror at the dead SkyClan warrior. Well. Should I have counted Dark Pelt's death? Okay, I'll keep it as 4 then. Usually, when in the past, I would mark deaths that they mention, like this person died between books. But if it was distinctly in a specific book, and I didn't mark Sorrel Tails either, because I didn't realize she was dead. How long is chapter 18? I think I'm gonna read one more chapter and then call it for today. My throat is starting to hurt me. I think it's because it's allergy season. It feels itchy. I have an itchy throat. Evil. Evil for me. Ooh, hold on. All right, let's go. Chapter 18. Alderpaw winced as Darktail's claws dug into his haunches. Only moments had passed since the slaughter of Mistfeather, and his killer was driving Alderpaw back to the camp. Keep moving, the rogue leader rasped. Stumbling onwards, Alderpaw could still picture Mistfeather's body, body, the gush of blood as Darktail's claws slashed open his throat. You didn't have to kill Mistfeather, he meowed, struggling to master his fear of the rogue leader. He was already weak and defenseless. What harm could he done to you? What harm could he have done to you? And you didn't even bury him, he added. Darktail stabbed his claws once more into Alderpaw's haunches. There's no way I would bury such a devious cat, he snarled. And when you and your companions are dead, I'll leave your bodies to rot too. Whoop. Dismayed, Alderpaw half turned to confront Darktail, who simply gave him a hard shove to keep him moving. Is this the end of my quest? He wondered in despair. Maybe I should have listened to the others and left. We've done nothing to you or your cats to deserve to be killed, he protested. Don't lie, flea pelt, Darktail hissed. It's obvious you're allies of SkyClan. You've come as spies to unsettle my group, so the weak clan with their daylight warriors could come back. But my cats and I claim this territory honorably, and we mean to keep it. Your plan has fallen apart. Alderpaw didn't know how to reply to such false accusations. He knew that nothing he said would change Darktail's mind. Every cat stood up and stared as Darktail shoved Alderpaw across the pile of rocks to return to the camp. Alderpaw saw with relief that his clanmates had returned. They padded to his side as Darktail pushed him into the middle of the circle of rogues. What's going on? Mole Whisker asked. Darktail stood at the bottom of the rocks, his gaze sweeping across the crowd of his followers as he prepared to address them. Of course, Alderpaw thought. He always sits beside the rocks. A real clan leader would speak to his cats from the top. We shouldn't have believed Darktail was a clan cat. He's never behaved like one. I found this pathetic excuse for a cat. Darktail gave Alderpaw a contemptuous prod. Talking to a SkyClan cat in the forest. It's obvious that these cats have lied to us. They're not friendly visitors. They're working with SkyClan to steal this territory back from us, after we fought for it so bravely. This has been a conspiracy from the beginning. Angry murmurs arose from the rogues. Alderpaw saw their neck fur beginning to bristle, their tails lashing as they closed in around the questioning cats. His friends scarcely resisted, bewildered by the news and the accusations. They're not SkyClan? Cherryfall meowed. We should have known, Mole Whisker hissed. A lot of things are making sense now. Is this true? Rain asked Needlepaw, thrusting his face up against hers until their noses almost touched. Are you plotting with SkyClan? Alderpaw could see his anger as Rain's claws flexed in and out, but he couldn't sense something else beneath it. Does he feel hurt? Sorry, bruh, your fling is a little empty. Alderpaw wondered, the odd ache swelling in his chest again. Jealousy. Needlepaw remained calm as she met Rain's furious green gaze. Of course it's not true, she replied. We live far away from here, and when we set out, we weren't even sure that SkyClan existed. So how could we have been conspiring with them? An angry yowl from Darktail followed her words. Are you calling me a liar? Certainly not. Needlepaw's voice was still even, and she raised one paw to smooth her whiskers. Alderpaw admired how she showed not the least trace of fear. I'm not calling any cat a liar. She turned to look at Alderpaw, her face as annoyed as Mole Whiskers had been sometimes when he was Alderpaw's mentor. My medicine cat friend might have been spending time with the wrong cat, but I'm sure he didn't mean anything by it. Darktail seemed to consider her words, but in the brief silence, the black she-cat, Raven, sidled up to him. Better safe than sorry, she mewed. We don't know for sure that we can trust these cats. After all, they did turn up out of the blue. And does any cat really believe what they told us? Alderpaw felt as though his windpipe was swelling, cutting off his breath. Is every cat here ruthless and nasty? Darktail went on thinking for a moment longer, then fixed an unblinking blue gaze on Needlepaw. You know I can't just let you go. Not after everything that has happened. Instantly, Mole Whisker and Cherryfall stepped forward, their backs arching and their shoulder fur bristling. You can't keep us here if we don't want to stay, Mole Whisker snarled. Right, Cherryfall agreed. If we say we're leaving, we'll leave. Alderpaw realized in despair that Darktail had no need to respond. Without a word from him, the rogues tightened the circle around them, their tails raised and their claws flexing, ready to fight. We're outnumbered, Alderpaw thought. They can keep us here. They can do what they like with us. It's nothing personal, Darktail meowed smoothly. Already one enemy has trespassed in the forest. I'm just making sure that no more danger is brought here to the gorge. Once I'm convinced that the danger has passed, I'll let you go. He licked one paw and drew it over his ear. I promise. But how can we believe your promises? Alderpaw added silently. The sun had gone down, and deep shadows lay over the gorge. After the earlier confrontation, Alderpaw and the others had been escorted to a different den, no more than a jagged crack in the rock, where they huddled tightly together. The rough walls pressed into their fur, and it was impossible to get comfortable. Just outside, Raven was sitting on guard, her back to the den. Seeing her ears pricked alertly, none of the questing cats had felt able to discuss plans for what they might do next. So what happened to the real Sky Clan? Cherryfall asked Alderpaw at last, her voice a low murmur. Did you find out? Alderpaw nodded. Mistfeather, the cat I met in the forest, told me that the rogues attacked Sky Clan and drove them out of the gorge. After that, the Sky Clan cats scattered. Mistfeather didn't know where they went, and then Darktail killed him. Sparkpaw let out a horrified gasp and dug her claws hard into the sandy floor of the den. Darktail's evil, Mollusker mewed. Turning to Needlepaw, he added, What were you thinking this morning? We shouldn't have tried to explain to him. We should have walked out of our own accord. Sorry, let me reread that. What were you thinking this morning? We shouldn't have tried to explain to him. We should have walked out of our own accord. And don't you think the rogues would have followed us? Needlepaw retorted. We would have led them straight to our own clans. Her voice rose as she spoke. Alderpaw and the others all turned to look at Raven, but if the black she-cat had heard them, she was giving nothing away. The clan cat settled once more into an uneasy silence. Nestling down into the uncomfortable new den, Alderpaw felt the dust sticking to his pelt, the sharp stones and pebbles jabbing at his flesh as he began to wonder where this quest had gone so wrong. We found what's left of Sky Clan, but will we share their fate? That was the end of the chapter. This is reminding me a lot of Firestar's quest itself. Like, gathering up, trying to find the missing cats, bringing them together again, kind of thing. Let me see how long the next chapter is. Okay, the next chapter is very long. You're so invested! I think if I read this chapter, I would just have to finish it, and I don't know if I have enough time to finish it. Because there's only 5 chapters left. But, like, there's still, like, a decent amount. Pretty. My nose, it's itchy. It's so itchy! Okay. We'll finish next week. We'll finish next week. Onward. Onward! Oh, I'm itchy. And I think I'll be able to... I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream... Oh, hi, Phil! I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow because Dunn and Cern want to play a game. Maybe we might stream it. I don't know yet. But if we don't, I think I am going to try and refresh a lot of my stream stuff to, you know, get like a new season, a new fresh breath of air, as they say. We'll try our new corner technique. As you can see, our pop cubs are now contained in the pop cub pen, as Ven has so nicely given us a name for. I don't like how they have like a weird little bar there. Why is there a bar there? And can you like... Can you just be like normal? Why are you... Transparency. Aha! Got it. Good refresh day. Also, we have lots of civs, lots of Minecraft civilizations. We have the Vigala. We have Lumiere. Okay, maybe we only have 2. Consider yourself a VTuber. Yes, I am a VTuber. Okay, I'll fill this out later. Squibby dibby dee, squabby dub, doop bop beep ba da bow, scrubby dooby doo, robby da. Counter? I need to peruse through these, these widgets. See which ones I want to add to my stream update. Maybe get a different first widget. Fuzzy. Fish phone. Wikipedia. Heart button. That's cute. It's like a when you're on YouTube and you press the little heart button thing. What did I press this one again? Because it had something, but I don't know what the something was. Ooh, you can play rock, paper, scissors. Oh, no, not that one either. Image pop-up. Ha, this is good for my merch. Use code COZY. Yeah. Yeah. Sick. Okay. I'll poke around. Poke around and find out. Oh, the first! I remember. It was the first. Wait, that was a different person, though. Was it? Yes, it was. No, I'm just making a mess of things, aren't I? First widget was first. That it widget field 1 redeem per viewer per stream. Show redeems profile. Who has been first the most? Ooh, that's kind of nice. It shows how many times you've been first. That'll be good for my first fighters. Oh, you got an apple. That looks yummy. Okay, guys, that's all for me today. YouTube. Just kidding. I don't want to go to YouTube. I want to go to Steam, Twitch. Wah, 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 wah. Oh my gosh! Maid Mint and Doki Bird are streaming today. That's so cute. That's so kawaii. We'll keep the daily gifts, of course. That one's a keeper. Keeper, as they say. Okay, I'll see you guys later. I'm not gonna raid anyone because I'm too lazy to open up Twitch and find someone to raid. Bye. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for reading with me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for love, life, and everything. Remember that seeing the good in things is a good thing. I love you. Bye.